Good morning, everyone. It is 9 o'clock. We are just awaiting our colleagues from Kenya. Thank you for your patience.
I see someone from the Youth Enterprise Development Fund Kenya is on. And I also
Excellent.
see our Minister, Dr. Shantal Munro-Knight is on. She's very familiar with our Kenyan connections, as we've had a previous conversation. So welcome, Senator Munro-Knight. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you so very much. Good morning.
Good morning to those in Barbados.
Good morning.
Is Benson there?
And good afternoon to those of us in this side. Yes, we're here with the team in the boardroom. We're just using one device for ease of convenience.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so
Dr. Mwongera, through the miracle of COVID, we were able to do this in this way. And I think one of the things that we've learned is out of what apparently is a very bad thing, which really devastated us, we have managed to pick in the true Caribbean and African way to pick the good and the virtue out of it and to make it into something that is useful and it will serve us in the long run. So without further ado, with your permission, Minister, CEO, Chairman, I'd like to start our virtual signing. And I guess all the nods and smiles indicate that we are more than ready. So I'd first like to welcome our Kenyan allies and colleagues. I want to say friends, because I feel very close to them now. And we're united in our battle with the cold. So it is now in Kenya, the winter. And so we have been experiencing a cold snap, and it's been delightful because we've all gotten a chance to wear warm clothing and to talk about the weather for a long time. We feel very British. You know, British people talk about the weather constantly. In Kenya, we're talking about how cold it has been. We welcome Dr. Mwongera, Benson, Muthendi, the CEO of the YEDF, the Youth Enterprise Development Fund in Kenya. I also am delighted to welcome our Minister, Senator Dr. the Honorable Shantal Munro-Knight, Minister in the Prime Minister's office. She also bears the responsibility of culture, there's so many things, Minister. I've spoken to you in so many different capacities. So obviously the Prime Minister's trust in you is well earned, and the wonderful CEO of the NTI, Dr. Allyson, Leacock. I do see members of our press, and we welcome you. Our welcome is no less warm. As an overview, so I want to just tell you, so we're going to be having, I'll give a very brief overview, and then we'll have some remarks from Dr. Mwongera of the YEDF, the Youth Enterprise Development Fund in Kenya. Then we'll have some remarks from the National Transformation Initiative, Dr. Allyson Leacock. Then Senator Munro-Knight will give a brief address or an address regarding this initiative. We'll have a virtual signing, and then we'll close. We may want to take some questions from the media at that time, and then we will close. So I've given you an overview of what we're doing. And we're also depending that the technology will hold out and will serve us well for the next maybe 45 minutes or an hour. So thank you. The overview, the benefit of having a mission, a live mission in situ, is that we get to meet, we get to meet our colleagues face to face. And this is a direct example of a very serendipitous meeting between one of the directors of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund when we were celebrating Africa Day, Africa Liberation Day, which was no more than about a month and a half, 2 months ago, maybe. And we got to talking about what our struggles were in terms of what the new struggle was, in how the transformation of our societies through education, anytime, anywhere, development of skills. And I was telling her that in our fair small island, that we were committed to leveling up, to moving our skills, our talents right up. So service excellence and moving towards an excellence was the avert commitment of our government. The interest that was expressed led me to then connect the Enterprise Development Fund, the National Transformation Initiative, with the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, and I let it go. And such was the degree of synchronicity between what the government of Kenya was doing or intended for its young persons, and what the government of Barbados was doing and intended for its young persons and all persons, that it seemed to be that there was a conversation of willing participants. And very quickly, ideas about a letter of intent, a memorandum of understanding, how can we work together quicker than normal, developed. And as a result, not three months later, a letter of intent is being signed now. The story is deeper than that, but I will leave that to the YEDF and the NTI to expand on. But what I will say is that for me, this is very, very heartwarming in that it justifies why we are here in terms of making connections, in terms of forging connections and keeping those connections alive. So it was very easy for our mission because everyone saw immediately what the benefits were, and everybody wanted to get together. So I'm extremely pleased that we're here, and that we are committed to leveling up, to making our drive towards excellence a shared goal between Kenya on the eastern side of Africa, Barbados on the eastern side of the Caribbean. It seems as if we're joined together by water and land. With those comments and the overview, it's my pleasure to invite the chairman of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund of Kenya, Dr. Victor Mwongera, to give some comments and to address this assembly. So, Chairman, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency, for that wonderful introduction. And I think that captures very well the essence of what we are looking to do today. So let me start by recognizing Your Excellency, the representative of Barbados in Kenya. And I think you have spoken very well to highlight the possibility of the partnership. We also want to recognize the Senator and Minister from the Office of the Prime Minister, Dr. Shantal Munro-Knight. We also recognize Dr. Allyson Leacock, Executive Director of NTI. And also, of course, recognize your colleagues from the mission and the members of the Fourth Estate who are here to witness this great start between our two countries. And with me, I also have one of our directors from the board and also members of the Secretariat who are here to assist. So let me start by saying that for us at the Youth Fund, just to give a quick brief for those who might not be aware of our organization, the Youth Fund started in 2007, is an organization that was built with a core aim of giving support to young people outside of formal education and formal training and formal employment. That is not to say that the Youth Fund does not target those who have gone through higher education and learning, but rather it was meant to provide assistance from the government in terms of young people setting themselves up as entrepreneurs in exploring the world of development of their ideas, development of opportunities they've identified, development of their targets and goals in terms of building sustainable and economically viable businesses. To that end, we have gone through various models. We have gone through various ways of trying to help young people. At the core of our mandate is supply of very affordable loans, loans that we provide at a rate much lower than the current market rate in the financial sectors. We also provide some training to our young people with the assumption that young people we meet might not have had a chance to have training in the development of businesses, in the preparation of documentation, in what it takes to run a business sustainably and successfully. And we also aim to provide that service. We also provide mentorship for our young people. We also provide linkages with various markets, both locally, regionally, and globally. So it is with that we are very excited to be part of this very interesting and very energetic partnership. And allow me to raise at this point that one of the key things that we have seen time and time again is that Africa has one of the strongest youth populations per capita. Africa is actually considered a youthful continent, and it has a youth population of below 35 of close to 70%. And that also reflects in the Kenyan population, where young people in Kenya below the age of 35 make up 76%. Of that, those between 18 to 35 years old make up 31% of the population. And therefore, you can see that the young people form a very strong workforce, actually the core of the workforce of the Kenyan economy. So the Youth Fund, as it stands, as an organization that is developed to do both social enterprise development and financial support, actually stands as a very key tool and instrument for the government to create an enabling environment for young people. And with that in mind, the Youth Fund has worked very hard with various strategies to be able to help young people and to aim to see how we can continue to develop new roles for the organization. Despite all that, the young people continue to face a lot of unemployment, with youth between 22 to 26 facing unemployment of close to 22%. Very high numbers considering how many young people we're talking about in Kenya's economy. However, that does not deter them. We have seen time and time again that young people in this country are energetic, they are motivated, they have brilliant ideas outside of traditional thinking, they are authors of disruptive technologies, they have solutions that solve problems that most of society has yet to identify. Therefore, the Youth Fund, with an aim of supporting this, has supported over 2 million youth to date. We have disbursed loans close to 14.8 billion Kenya shillings, which is approximately $140 million since 2006 to 2022. Despite these numbers, these very strong numbers, we also recognize that we do not have all the solutions. And to be able to serve this youthful and energetic population, we must also continuously evolve. We must continuously look for new ideas and new opportunities. Therefore, when we had this opportunity to form this partnership between the country of Barbados and Kenya through the Youth Fund, we were very excited to do so. NTI, from the briefing of Dr. Leacock, was formed by the president of Barbados in response to the high unemployment. And as we were told by the ambassador, Her Excellency is actually a champion of excellence and innovation. And so some of the things that we have seen of NTI initially, some of the programs and activities that we have seen are items that we are very, very excited to see if we can incorporate within the Youth Fund. So to this end, the Youth Fund, through the board, through the secretariat, through the CEO and the directors, we are very, very excited to be part of this signing of the letter of intent. And it is our hope, our belief, and our mission that as we move forward, we shall have this letter of intent mushroom into something more, into a partnership that benefits both sides, not just the Kenyan youth, but also the Barbados young people and the Barbados populace as a whole. So with that, with those few remarks, I want to thank you, Your Excellency, for giving me an opportunity to say this. And let me finish off by just allowing me to say thank you to also to the team that has made this possible. Starting off with, of course, with our president, who continues to champion the youth. He has been the global youth champion or representative of the UN, a global role that has arisen from his work with the youth. I also want to recognize our former president, the late Mwai Kibaki, who established the Youth Fund as part of a very strong vision. I also want to recognize my directors, in particular, the Honorable Dr. Grace Kibuku, who, as Your Excellency has said, she was very instrumental in putting this together and actually brought this whole team together and continues to push this agenda with a lot of energy and zeal. And also for the rest of the directors who may not have been able to join us today, who continue to support us, and the CEO and his team who continue to work towards excellence for this institution. So with that, Your Excellency, I want to thank you and hand over to yourself.
Oh, I said asante sana mheshimiwa. Those words really resonate with us because you hint at the underscoring of a connected Africa. The Caribbean, as it realizes itself, realizes that it is not actually separate from Africa, but it is actually joined. It is the diaspora of Africa. And when you speak about the development of African youth, you really speak also to our own development as well. So we are simpatico with you, and we are happy that you are as happy as we are to be joining this. And with those words, I think it's only appropriate that I ask Dr. Allyson Leacock, the Director of the National Transformation Initiative in Barbados, to also offer her thoughts on the signing of this LOI. Dr. Leacock, our pleasure.
Thank you, Your Excellency, Minister, Chairman, board members, colleagues of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund in Kenya, my own colleagues here at the NTI in Barbados, and of course, members of the media. Thank you for joining us. And let me use my newly minted Kenyan words, Jambo, Asante Sana.
Jambo.
Jambo. Jambo. So
well executed. Yeah, those words.
I am learning, and I've been groomed by His Excellency specifically for this morning's purpose. So I'm very excited to have been able to share those words with you. I think, like His Excellency and the Chairman, I am delighted that we've gotten to this point after our initial call with your director, Her Excellency Kibuku, and indeed the acting CEO and other colleagues from the Youth Fund. It seems fortuitous, I think, that we are forging this alliance on an important day for us in the Caribbean. It's Marcus Garvey Day. We salute a Jamaican who has been not just a political activist, a journalist, entrepreneur, and orator, but somebody who believed in both our emancipation and transformation as a people. So I thank His Excellency for facilitating the initial meetings that really planted the seed for us to reach this point this morning. Very briefly, I think our synergies are clear. As the NTI, we always champion the fact that transformation begins with me. And as I listen to you, Chairman, I realize that certainly between us and across the waters, there are a number of alliances that are going to be really perfect for our two countries and our two entities to forge ahead. One of them, of course, is our own citizenship course that has a number of areas that I think not only resonate for us as Barbadians, but for us as global citizens, as individuals. Each of us has a role to play, and this is our flagship course. But it has a number of elements that will resonate not just with young people, but with those who want to be a part of being active citizens in their countries at any age. And so we certainly want to champion that. The second is that as NTI, as we shared our experience and our Prime Minister's vision for the NTI and what we must do in terms of retooling the entire workforce of Barbados, we have grabbed with both hands the need for us to embrace a new way of teaching and learning. One of the things that our traditional colonial systems promoted was the collegial approach to education rather than developmental. And we think that each of us has a different way of learning, and there are multiple intelligences. And because of that, the NTI sees it as really important that we meet people where they are and show them that there are opportunities, whether or not they were successful in the traditional school system, as the Youth Fund is doing in Kenya to ensure that it reaches all young people. We are spreading our net even wider, and we are looking at reaching every Barbadian so that we offer them an opportunity to enjoy learning so that they can be their best Star-Bajan self, as we call it. Perhaps the final point about how we function as NTI that I think resonates with the Youth Development Fund in Kenya is that learning is an ongoing process. There are no limits to it. There are no age limits to it. The reality is that it is a lifelong journey. And if we as a people want to showcase how we can be at a global level, that we have a unique offering to bring to the global space, then e-learning provides a unique opportunity. Yes, there are blended courses as well, but e-learning is a new way of learning in many ways for us. And it is also a tremendous opportunity that is provided for us to reach everyone to learn their way in their time. And we certainly want to promote this. We want to share this as partners with you in Kenya, because all of our Barbadian learners have access to these courses that the government has invested millions of dollars in to ensure that every Barbadian has a good chance of recalibrating, making sure that they're cutting edge, and indeed that they can let their light shine globally. So being cutting edge in everything we do, being the best anywhere, anytime, based on our skills and competencies that we bring to every situation is what we are excited about sharing with you in Kenya as well. We believe that we can because we have what it takes. And I know you believe that your young people in Kenya equally have that, as your mandate talks about providing market support to your youth enterprises, business development services that you mentioned to your youth-owned enterprises, and just facilitating your young people to obtain jobs abroad. All of this is well aligned with NTI's work, and very specifically on our learning management system. We have 8 indigenous courses that were specifically designed with instructional design best practices. And we're very pleased that at this juncture, in our very young life, we've attracted 19,679 Barbadians who've registered for those 8 indigenous courses. I know those numbers sound small in Kenya, but they're big for us in Barbados. And those courses include online safety, core skills, entrepreneurship, very much rooted in our legislation here in Barbados, but with applications across the board. Occupational health and safety, rooted in our local Shaw Act, but again, with applications globally. Our citizenship flagship course, of course, introduction to coding with Java, beginner sign language to ensure that we include people with disabilities, and personal financial management. And those are the numbers as of this week. And of course, these numbers change every day. We also have hundreds of accredited courses with our international partner, the largest MOOC in the world, Coursera. And that has attracted enrollments of 28,094 Barbadians online. So we are more than happy to welcome star Kenyans to our fold. And we look forward, like you do, Chair, to a rich exchange between our two entities and our really rigorous efforts to ensure that this graduates to an MOU. And the partnership between Barbados and Kenya, as I know our minister is very engaged in, continues to flourish to show what we can each export and the synergies that can really redound to the benefit of both countries. So thank you very much.
Asante sana, Dr. Leacock. I'm trying to inject Swahili in here so that we also try to export the teaching of Swahili to the Caribbean. Swahili will certainly be a global language in another 20 years, as many billions of Africans will start speaking it, and therefore the world as well. I want to also recognize Honorable Grace Kibuku, who is my partner in crime on this venture. Honorable Grace, nice to see you, and thank you for joining us at this time. We would have felt very hollow if you had not been here to consummate the work that you and the chairman and Benson are doing, Mr. Muthendi are doing. So Muthendi are doing, so that we are happy to see you, Jambo. Waziri, Senator Dr. Shantal Munro-Knight. Waziri is minister, and I greet you well, and I welcome you to offer your remarks to this ceremony.
Thank you, High Commissioner, and let me say good afternoon to all of you Kenyan colleagues, and I'm greeting you with the warmth and familiarity of friendship. I don't think that we can describe the relationship that we've had, Barbados and Kenya, just only in the context of diplomatic ties. But I view, and everything that I've been told and understand would suggest that we have more than a cordial relationship, such that I can smile and say to you that while you are having your British conversation about the weather, we're having our very own Caribbean conversation about how hot it is here. I don't know that the terms that we're using to describe how hot it is perhaps as proper British, like Commissioner, but certainly very Caribbean. And I also want to say, I don't know how I have been left out of the schooling of the Swahili words. I feel very left out, High Commissioner, so we'll have to correct that for next time, so that the warmth and familiarity can be further grounded in making sure that I can offer some words in kind. But no, very much happy to be here, very much happy to greet all of the colleagues who are on the call, all of the persons from the Kenyan Youth Enterprise Development Fund who would have joined and are joining with our National Training Initiative. The National Training Initiative is certainly something that we are very, very proud of in Barbados. The National Training Initiative, as I like to call it, is part of our silent revolution here in Barbados. That has to do with ensuring that we build strong and resilient citizens that is based on a foundation of retooling, empowering, retraining, and enfranchising. I think that within the context of the world that we are living in, and certainly the National Transformation Initiative came out of our homegrown Barbados Economic Recovery and Transformation Program, a program that we call BERT, supported by the International Monetary Fund. And that is very, very important. I said it was a homegrown program. And therefore, in the context of that, the government was very convinced that the traditional approach to restructuring the economy was not one that would serve us, but that we needed to have an approach which very much recognized that the repositioning of the economy was also dependent on the extent to which we can ensure that our citizens were also transitioned in a way that could allow them to better operate in the context for which the world was moving. And that is the context in which it was change was constant and constant flux. So that the National Transformation Initiative has provided a critical platform. It's a critical pillar in the government's approach to ensuring that young people, to ensuring that workers right across our workforce are provided with opportunities for training that is relevant, responsive, and directly as well delivered in a way that meets them at their needs. Yeah. And I think that this is something that we are very happy to be sharing with our Kenyan colleagues, very happy to be sharing with others, because certainly when I heard the discussion that this partnership arose in the context of looking at or discussing African Day. And I think those discussions are part of where we are all at in terms of that discussion about how do we transform our societies as we understand our past, our legacy, and we seek to operate within the current environment. What is going to be the best pillars upon which we can transform our societies? And I heard the colleagues, Dr. Mwongera, talk about the youth, and the youthful population within Kenya has also been very critical to that. And I think in those ways, we have some similarities here, certainly in Barbados, in relation to the need to make sure that we are able to better position our young people and our youthful population to make sure that they can understand their role in the context of national development. And in so doing, again, providing a platform for them to have the necessary training to be able to understand who they are as citizens and how they fit in with the context of national development and good citizenship. And then grounded as well, like I said, by actually practical skills that allow them to be positioned within the context of today's economy is extremely critical. I also want to suggest that this initiative is also a continuation of certainly government's continual outreach into the diaspora, continually building that relationship with Africa. One of the prime ministers, and I would call it one of her favorite projects, is a project which is called ROAD, Reclaiming Our Atlantic Destiny. And certainly a fundamental pillar of that project, Reclaiming Our Atlantic Destiny, is about forging commercial and cultural connections with Africa. And sorry, and I want to ground that as well in the context, I think, as we all appreciate that Barbados is still, a new republic. And as we are a new republic, it provides a space for us to express our identity differently as well. So not only in the trappings of the republic, but in the way that we engage, in the way that we seek to forge new relationships and essentially to kind of reframe the narrative that we've been told as former colonial countries, and to be able to reframe those, in our own context, in our own ways as well. So that this initiative certainly is one of those pillars in the context of the government's vision. And as I said before, Kenya, as a friend, I wasn't around in government in 2019, but I'm aware that we would have had visits from the president of Kenya, and of course our prime minister would have also visited. And from all reports as well, we would have had just this year, just a couple of months ago, a visit by our own president to Kenya. A visit that, from all reports, she's thoroughly enjoyed. So that this morning, as we launched this partnership between the Kenya Youth Enterprise Development Fund and the Barbados National Transformation Initiative, we consider this partnership a very sterling example as well of South-South cooperation. And importantly, because I'm also managing the Sustainable Development Agenda and expression of Sustainable Development Goal 17 partnerships as well. So I am hoping that this partnership will allow us to be able to forge deeper linkages, share those lessons as it regards training, and help us to further together youth development, which is critical for all of us at this particular times. We will learn from each other, whether it will be through different delivery modalities, content, cultural approaches, and languages. Our people and nations will be enriched by these exploratory exchanges. And I look forward, High Commissioner and other colleagues from Kenya, again, to having more opportunities such as this, where we come together to solidify those ties that really bind us. Thank you very much.
Asante Sana Waziri. So good of you to touch on some of the critical things that are important to us as a nation. And as I talk with my Kenyan colleagues, you could have transported our name into Kenya and you would see that they're exactly the same. Kenya has had, for the last many years now, global view to engage its diaspora, and what we're doing now is the culmination of that start. It's not the beginning of the end, but it's certainly the end of the beginning, where we are signing these agreements. We've very recently signed a memorandum of understanding between our manufacturing sectors. So that's the hard edge of it. That's the commercial edge. This transformation and the YEDF, NTI, and the YEDF speaks to the development of our societies and the kinds of people who will be working in our manufacturing sectors and people who will be creating the products. So we're creating those linkages, and as you well know, in our culture, creating, we have a MOU on the table between us, which we're trying to concretize. So that's also now speaking to our heart and our minds of how we connect with each other. And those memoranda are living proof of our intent and our wish to be together. So I turn to the signing of the LOI. The LOI is a letter of intent. And as we were speaking about our intent, it is grounded in the goodness and the wish for ourselves to partner and but to do so, as the Kenyans would say, pole pole, which is slowly by slowly. Let's not rush into things. Let's get things right from the very start. And I therefore am asking Dr. Leacock to expose the signed LOI, which was executed moments before we started the meeting, so that we would have a very smooth transition. And at the bottom, you will see the signatures of the two executives, which have given life to the letter of intent. And I will invite Dr. Leacock to maybe articulate what the terms, and maybe Mr. Muthendi to elaborate and to assist her in explaining what the letter of intent is. I can give a chapeau, a cap to it, which says that really and truly the letter of intent as is drafted there underscores the belief that there is a strong reason for the two agencies, the NTI and the YEDF, to partner, but that both of the agencies wish to do so with full disclosure, to decide what they would like to do, how they would like to do it, and when they would like to do it, with the intent of moving towards a memorandum of understanding which creates binding ties. That is the very brief summary of the LOI, but I would invite Dr. Leacock and Mr. Muthendi to give some flesh to that. And also I will invite any other member of the YEDF, Dr. Grace, if you would like to add anything to it, and Chairman, if you would like to add anything to it, so that the press and those attending would be well versed in what we're doing today. This is the first step of what I hope is a long relationship, but a short introduction to each other, where we can move to the MOU as quickly as our passions provide. So Dr. Leacock, I will first turn to you if you would like, or Benson, if you would like to start off, I would hand over to the actual agencies. I am just the glue trying to stick it together. So I turn over to you.
Thank you, High Commissioner. Certainly, I've pulled it up on the screen so that those who are here can in fact see some of our goals. And of course, as you articulated, we are hoping that we will deepen our working relationship, that we will explore the possibility of exchanges, not just in terms of our technical ability, but our capacity building of our resources through technology in the initial stages. Hopefully at some point it will translate into us actually being able to welcome our Kenyan colleagues to Barbados and vice versa, but also exploring the possibility of those exchanges in a very tangible way so that we build our relationships for mutual benefit. So the floor is open to the Youth Enterprise Development Fund to enhance what their own views and desires are coming out of this.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Dr. Leacock, Board Chairman, Dr. Victor Mwongera, and all distinguished guests, Senator, Minister. Thank you very much. We really are delighted to be here today. Just in summary, is that the Youth Enterprise Development Fund wishes through this letter of intent to determine the suitability of NTI for youth training and empowerment in Kenya. We also wish to provide a framework for a structured functional cooperation and collaboration between YEDF and NTI. And we also wish to set out a roadmap for future interaction with a view to establishing a memorandum of understanding. And maybe just to cap it all is that both parties, even though this is not written, do this willfully and without any duress or indeed any coercion whatsoever. This is a meeting of minds arising from a meeting that we have held in the past and consultations that we have done over time. And arising from that meeting and the consultations, we have desired and have seen the need to work together and to partner in the interests of the young people, of our young people in both Barbados and in Kenya. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Dr. Grace? You were the initial voice with whom we spoke, and Chairman, you joined in those discussions as well.
Thank you.
If you're in the same
room, Dr. Grace, you may want to, somebody may need to mute if you're in the same room as the rest of your colleagues.
I think you can hear me now.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Your Excellencies, Waziri, Senator, High Commissioner, Dr. Allyson, all protocols observed. my apologies, sincere apologies for coming slightly late. You understand what is going on in Kenya. And
Yes.
some of us are still party to those national deliberations and all that. But that notwithstanding, I know we are very well represented, that finally 1,000 miles journey, as they say, begins with a step, not just a step, but a step in the right direction. So I'm very, very happy that Your Excellency Ambassador, what started at our Brotherhood Pan-African Movement Day at the Morocco Embassy has really taken us to this. And this is actually a hope of our spirit of Pan-Africanism. We're being mindful of being our brothers and our sisters and even our children's keeper. That notwithstanding, I know Your Excellencies, we are very, very, very honored to have actually met with you. And what has impressed the Youth Fund, and I particularly, is your prompt and the response as you took up this issue. I'm sure if it were about you, this will have taken place within maybe less than 2 weeks or so. But you understand the scenario we are in, also being a state corporations, there are a bit of here and there, and the scenario in the country. So we really apologize because I know Your Excellency, you had indicated that you'd have wanted us to go with this as per your country's way of doing things. We are going to pick up, and I'm sure we are going to learn up a lot from you. So in this, I don't want to repeat what has been said by my chair and my CEO, but what I want to say is to actually thank you very, very much, the fraternity of Barbados, and also take up that we are very honored as a Kenya to have you actually taking this time and also giving us a leaf of what has benefited Barbados in a big, big way. I was in a meeting yesterday, Pan-African, I'm the chair of the Pan-African movement in Kenya on the part of the women, the women, and we were being told about your president. And it is very impressive how they seem to know so much about your president, and they talk of the president as a hero because of the paradigm shift that this, she's been able to bring to your country. And that is a story for another day. But for our youth, I'm sure we are in the right direction with the right people and at the right moment. We cannot thank you enough, Your Excellency, and all the other, and especially Waziri. And I know there is a lot more we can do in the platform, that this is just but the beginning. And I know there are also going to be many other programs for women, even for men. We don't want to discriminate, but I think I'll put it there. Mine is just to say we are very, very grateful. And I don't have to repeat that our president is also on this. And I'm sure even the incoming government, they are going to embrace this in a big way. Thank you very much. And we look forward for the further deliberation. And also coming to Morocco, to Barbados, sorry.
That's all right.
Thank you so much.
Asante, Dr. Grace. It was lovely that you were able to join us and to also offer some comments to almost close the circle of where we have come from and where we're going. Obviously, we have signed the LOI. The work that we now have is to perfect that into a memorandum of understanding, and that is really between the agencies. The mission here in Kenya stands ready to assist in any way to bridge any gaps that we have. Dr. Leacock, if you want to go back to the regular meeting and we can stop the screen sharing so that we can see each other. Thank you so much. So we stand ready to assist in any way that we can, because we see our mission is to provide that morning into afternoon connection, because as you realize, the 7-hour difference does make it a bit challenging, but not so much so that it overrides the passion that we have to cooperate. Our Prime Minister I will say, does not seem to sleep, so it doesn't bother her, the time difference. So we have taken that that page out of her book. 3 in the morning is not too late for us to have a conversation with our Kenyan brothers, and neither is 7 in the night. So we will always be here to work with you. That is our national stance, and that is the transformation in which our Prime Minister wishes the country to move towards, a 24/7 service economy that transcends geography, that transcends time and space, so that we can be available at whatever time is necessary, either in person or through our virtual platforms. When we talk about the metaverse, Barbados is also the first country in the world that has a metaverse, an embassy in the metaverse. And those are learnings that we would wish to share with our Kenyan brothers and sisters as well. And indeed, our African brothers and sisters, who we see closer and closer, the relationship between South and South, making other relationships come into second place as we seek to develop together, but this time on our own terms. The transatlantic journey that our ancestors took 400 years ago, we can transform from something bad into something very, very good. This is the aim. I would now wish to ask the members of our press if there are any questions that they wish to direct to our Kenyans. We would expect the questions to be in Swahili, out of respect for them. I can see.
Have they been schooled? Was I the only one that was left out? Has the press been schooled? And so now I am thoroughly.
Minister, I sincerely apologize for the oversight, but the press being up to date, I'm sure that they would have their questions drafted in Swahili. So that, but if any members of the press wish to reflect or to ask questions on this or any of our broader topics, we have Minister Munro-Knight here. We have Dr. Leacock, who is well versed in many other areas and in where the transformation initiative is going. I'm sure that we welcome the questions that are going to be asked, if there are any.
As if all questions were answered by the presentations.
Yes, I can't see everyone, so I'm sure somebody's talking and it's muted. We have our colleagues, and I think that what Dr. Grace was talking about is that Kenya has just gone through a general election process and is still going through that process now, so that many of the alacrity to which it would normally have moved is being curtailed by other considerations. And we collectively, the government of Barbados, prays for the people of Kenya, the government of Kenya, that it will transition through this process in a way that respects the development that Kenya has undergone in the last few years. The maturity of the people that I have gotten to know and the warmth of the greetings and relationships that we've built, we sincerely hope that those will also be reflected in the election process that will end at some point in another month or so, or a couple of weeks, depending. So we pray and we wish our Kenyan brothers and sisters well as they go through the process. But if there are no questions, I would wish to, I do offer my sincere thanks to the members of the board of the YEDF, led by their chairman, supported by their CEO. I thank also the members of the press that came out today to support us. It is very important that that the people, our people, know that there are logical links between Africa and ourselves, but more so between Kenya, because normally when we think of Africa, we think of our west coast of Africa, we think of the normal traditional links, but it is only until you realize that the aspirations of Kenyans, the aspiration of East Africans are exactly the same as our aspirations. We too wish to, in Kenya, there is a very, very high demand to transform the relationships that they have and to move them to South-South. And to Kenya has been one of the driving forces between the East Africa economic zone. It's a force that is saying, let Africa unite. Previously led by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, the formation of the CARICOM and African dialogues have been driven from Kenya, and we regard and we respect that. This LOI signing is, I think, actually the child of that vision between His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta and Her Excellency Mia Amor Motley. Even as their warm relationships, they've now translated into these types of signings and these types of documents and initiatives. More so, I think Benson Muthendi said that this was not coerced. It was absolutely a meeting of the minds, of passions, of people seeing the relationships and the logicality of it and moving forward. And we respect and we honor our Kenyan brothers for that. As our head of mission here, I thank you. Senator Dr. Shantal Munro-Knight Waziri. You will now know that when we hear Waziri, you know, it's interesting because it's the Arabic word vizier or vazir is your term. So you are now Waziri. Dr. Leacock, as always, it is a wonderful, wonderful pleasure to interact with you and to work with you to get this forward, along with Mr. Muthendi, to get this to where we are now. I hope that the next steps towards an MOU will be rapid. I do hope that at some point in the very, very near future, that a delegation from the YEDF will find itself crossing the oceans to see the National Transformation Initiative in situ, what it does, what it means, where Dr. Leacock has been able to roll out a program that has been so profound from a very, very conservative space and place, and it is really reflective of our times, where we don't need massive overheads to deliver extensive quality and improvements. These are the times that we live in, and they're more driven by passion and energy and vision than they are by space and big things. Dr. Leacock, with very little resources, has created a huge structure that can support us. And I do hope that Chairman, that you'll be able to come down to our island and see what we have developed and done. And I do hope, Waziri, that you will be able to persuade the Prime Minister to reciprocate in like terms. It's visiting on the ground that we see what the opportunities are beyond what we can talk about or what we can imagine. When we see it, we can say, I think we can help here on both sides. So with those words, sorry, I think Waziri, you wish to say something.
Yeah, I'm so sorry just to interrupt the closing, but I just wanted to also congratulate the mission on the ground as well. I think this effort is again one of the evidence really of the government's intent, and I believe it really shows forth what the government is intended to do in terms of building strong relationships, and not just in terms of establishing missions on the ground, but missions that work, missions that build relationships. And I really want to congratulate you and all of your officers for seeing this initiative and working it through. And as you said, as well, looking forward very swiftly to being perhaps on the ground at the signing of the MOU. So if somebody could just mention that to the Prime Minister, that would be good for me as well. To their But no, just wanted to say congratulations once again to all of you, and looking forward to other initiatives like this as well. Thanks.
Asante sana. So with those words, thank you, Minister, and thank you on behalf of our team here. We worked very hard to do that, and I know that the YEDF also has worked very hard with a troubling time or a concerning time around, and they pulled off these wonderful things. Dr. Leacock, thank you for your energy and time as well. I think the letter of intent is signed basically with the ink of passion and commitment, and I hope that we can move towards our MOU quickly, even if I do hope to see some Bajan faces here in Kenya, maybe doing some work on the ground, and I do hope to see some Kenyan faces in Barbados doing some work on the ground. Thank you all. If there are any other comments, I'd be happy to entertain them now, but if there are none, I think it's a wonderful time that we've taken 1 hour, and that is a wonderful use of our time. We've used our technology to bridge the gap, and we have all met, 20 of us have met within an hour on this virtual platform. So on behalf of all of you, thank you to each of you. God bless us all. Bariki. Thank you. Bye-bye.